And there we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, this is Commander Unshackled. Let's try that again. Fucking hell. I fucked up the first fucking line, and I've been doing the same line for a goddamn year. Try that again. Good evening, everybody. This is Commander Unshackled, and I forgot to fucking mute myself, and that's twice. Let's go for the third time to charm. Let's go for the third time to charm. Good evening, everybody. This is Commander Unshackled, and we're crushing the roaches one by one. So let's go straight to introduction of tonight's panel. Of course, right on the end we have Deja, we have Fuck You, we have Jack Sparrow, we have the lovely Skipjack, we have the wonderful Lady Warrior, we have Mr. Lionel Richie himself, and of course, me, myself, the indomitable, the immortal one, Dr. Phil. And much to the presido of everybody else, I have not quit. At all. I'm right here. I'm running the show. So fuck you. And so we'll go ahead and now we've got all that done. How are we tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
I am wonderful.
And of course, fucking ladies as usual, David the douche joins in fucking right at the end.
Aw, don't you love me anymore?
I never loved you in the first place.
Don't answer that.
I already did. So we'll go.
I got a few bases.
As Lonnie would know exactly where I'm going with this, we'll go right ahead in and dive into the downtime and release notes for this week. I love doing that.
Dive right into it.
I just gotta hope Joe doesn't sue me.
He hasn't coined it yet, damn it.
So the following changes and fixes have been applied on the Thursday, 8th of November update. Of course, the gift store update. Before I finish, actually, this the update will be scheduled for 5:30 p.m. Kickside time, which is an hour from now, because of a delay, because Kickside fucked something up somewhere along the lines, and now they're gonna go fix it. Time will be going up in an hour. And in an hour and 10 minutes, we'll find out just how many people have been cheating their fucking expansions for the last fucking years.
Help!
You're only 6 years late, Kickside. 6 years isn't too bad.
Better late than never.
Better late than never, yeah. And we're not going to sit back and watch a lot of things burn.
I'm going to laugh. I already got a couple bases. I already got the screenshots up, befores and afters.
Because
I know these motherfuckers. Oh, yeah.
They better leave my ass alone.
Oh, mine, dude. I can show you mine until I'm blue in the face.
I mean, I only ever bought 2 expansions. If they take those away, someone's getting my foot in an ass. So
I bought all mine when they was on sale. So
what do they mean by they're going to shrink the bases that were expanded? By the way,
we'll get to that a little later.
Yeah, that's what I want to know too, because mine's completely fucking expanded. And if they shrink it, I'm gonna be one mad son of a bitch because I paid for my expansions. So if they shrink it at all.
Let Dr. Phil get on with it.
We'll get into that later. So
yeah. There's a forum post I want to go straight to as soon as I'm done with this particular bit. That will explain that better than Kickstarter are actually able to. Which is ironically, it was done. The explanation was done by a player, not a member of Kickstarter, and then confirmed by Kickstarter a little later down in the post. So that's one of those things. But of course, the gift store has been updated and. We'll sort that out in a minute.
That's awesome.
Bug fixes, building placement. Players should no longer be able to stack buildings on top of each other and build outside of their base's boundaries.
That's another good one, because I've seen a lot of players with buildings on top of buildings.
I have never seen that. So
I've seen bunkers under oil silos before. So
yeah, I've heard of it. I've not actually witnessed it.
Who said, "Oh, he doesn't have this," and then all of a sudden drones start coming out underneath of a bunker, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Or you go to kill metal silo Dean and get your ass blown up from a bunker that's under an oil silo with 5,000 liberators in it. You know, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
You think?
Please note, if you currently have buildings outside of your boundaries or stacked on top of each other, they will now be stashed after the update goes live.
That's awesome.
Now, this is the favorite one that we were making jokes about a few minutes ago. Players who did not pay for expanded borders will have the footprint of their base reduced to the correct size.
Oops.
Fun. I can't wait to see them squeeze a size 10 foot into a size 5 shoe.
What
Yeah.
borders are buying in?
Well, you'll find out when somebody gets my size 15 boot in their very size small.
I could have gone dirty there. We could have talked about a tiny teeny weeny, or we could have talked about a Mega 1 stuffed in a tiny teeny weeny condom. I didn't.
Well,
There you go.
Either way.
as they always say, size does matter in this
Yes,
case.
it does. I got him to smile, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that lovely? He's so adorable.
Command centers, which are outside the buildable area or overlapping, will be automatically placed at the center of the player's base. Okay. That's a bit weird because
There
it
we
does
go.
depend if there are actually buildings inside the center of the player's base. What are they going to do with all of those?
Stash them.
Stash them. That would be my guess.
That would be the most
I would think
appropriate.
so, too.
What more?
And then they would have to contact customer support, and then customer
You know what?
support.
I hope when they stash them, they take them down to
Customer
level
support will
1.
have to help them reorganize their base.
What moron would put their command center outside the edge anyway? That would just be like, oh, please hit me, hit me, hit me.
Somebody waiting on a selfie. That's who. That's
Yeah.
the people that do that. Selfies.
Yep, selfies, self-bubbling, and
Yep.
in some of the events, you can do that with your command center. If you know that the majority of the heavy for the PvE events, if you know what the heaviest part of the wave is going to be coming from 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you can throw your command center outside and put some units there where they spawn. So at the spawn point, they immediately die, and then everything else comes from the other side, and then you can just stack your turrets diagonally. Your command center is never at risk.
Right.
Yeah. Range tank will now apply to units in bunkers, which, if it now applies,
That's going to be killer for the lives.
I'm rather annoyed about that because all of the liberators that I put in my bunkers all had target practice on, apparently for no fucking reason.
Pretty much, you've been wasting your time, yes.
Yeah.
But now, you know,
I
in
don't
hindsight,
now
you're
I
just ahead of
don't
the
use
curve.
liberators anymore. They decided to fix that. So yeah.
Well, that's okay.
You
'cause I'm
can
gonna be
go
switching
fuck
over,
yourself
so I
on
can't
that
use
one.
those.
You're about a year behind there, Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Well done.
Now, Micah just brought up a very interesting question. You know, if they stash somebody's building, could you not exploit that by leaving that building in there and just never putting it back out? Say, academy, for example. If you have nothing to do in your academy, can you just leave it in there?
I wouldn't recommend if your academy did get stashed. I wouldn't recommend leaving it in your stash buildings.
I hope they
because-
I hope they stash them. They drop them to level 1. I really hope they do. That'd be hilarious.
No. Leave the academy in there because then you won't get the passive buff.
True.
Go ahead. Leave. Yeah.
There'll be no passive buff, and there'll be no upgrading the fucking Ravagers.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
that's
you go.
right. Yeah, they'll have to pull it out. They'll have to pull it out to do upgrades. But in the meantime, if they wanted to, I guess they could leave it in there and use that space for something else for the time being.
Well, I mean, he's probably not talking about academies and nothing like that. He's probably talking about like
Oil producers,
metal
and
factories
metal
and
foundries.
Yeah,
oil
those kinds of
plants.
things. Yeah, I just do an academy because that's just the first
No,
building that come to my mind.
And will
power
it
plants,
count?
too.
Will it count against the percentage? You not be able to flat their base 100%. I mean,
So,
That's another thing
That's-
on top of that. But
Yeah,
it
that's
also comes to the
interesting.
question if Kixeye are being able to stash players' buildings.
why?
Is that
Why can't-
Kixeye's testing phase of allowing us to stash our own buildings?
true.
Well,
Oh, that would be
just as a-
fantastic.
just as a cornerstone to that comment is, remember, Wrong Thinker did talk to us about the possibilities, not the definite capabilities, but a theory that it would have been a nice idea to have a base planner set up where we
I'll
could
be back,
have
guys.
buildings stashed away and then brought back out into our playing field so that we could design our bases a little bit more conveniently.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
This would be a testing thing for a temporary stash. Now, if I recall, and this is just me trying to use my limited memory skills, he was suggesting possibly being able to have a stash key where you could go over and put your buildings off to the side, like a drop down menu, and then pull them back out, similar to our trophies. The other idea that he had spitballed was allowing us, and this also goes into this updates, with the fixing of the base expansion, allowing us to position our buildings off of the build area temporarily. And then once you clicked back on your command center to end that design thing, they would automatically be shifted back within the build parameter. But I think his suggestion was like, if you grayed out the exterior perimeter and then your interior, this is just me saying grayed out, he didn't say that, but say it grayed out your exterior perimeter where your trees and all that crap is, your building perimeter stays the natural color with the white outlines. You build what you wanted. You could put your command center and all the other buildings outside on the gray area temporarily. Create your building sections, put in your wall blocks, and then bring your buildings in to the build region. So those were the two things that I can recall off the top of my head that he was discussing. So yeah, this very well could be, if not a direct testing of that system, at least it is a indirect way for them to see how it works. So it might benefit us in the future. And I'll shut up now.
No, it's perfectly fine.
No, I'm starting to ramble, so I'm just going to shut the fuck up.
Now, again, notes. Some users have started the tutorial prior to the update may notice that buildings have been rearranged. This is a known issue. Apologies for the inconvenience. If you're starting the tutorial right now and you're in the tutorial phase, here's a suggestion. Close the game. Close that browser window. And don't fucking come back. Because you're 6 years behind the day you start, and there ain't no way in hell you're ever going to catch up. Don't put yourself through the punishment of trying to play this game as a new player.
No.
Just don't. The re-engagement packs are nice. The base expansion packs are nice. They'll take you so far, but that's it. They won't take you any further than where you actually need to be. And that's my personal advice on that one. Others may differ, others may agree, but that's entirely up to them to do so. Now, as for the base expansion, and I'll go to a forum post in a minute about that, base expansion actually increases the buildable area by 8% per level, not 10%. They're advertised at 10% in the past, partially because the first level is quite close to 10%. However, to be transparent as possible, if players complain about the change in size of a base expansion, we can let them know they had been incorrectly described before, and correcting those values in the game's user interface to better reflect the actual size of a player will gain when they expand borders. Now, that irks me just a little bit, because they've said 10% for a very long time, and I need to go and find that fucking post again, because I saw it. There it is. And it's going to put me on the second fucking page. It's on the second fucking... it's actually Pascal made the post about the...
I merged it.
The known issue. Yeah, it's probably gone with a whole bunch of other posts as well. Again, if you're going to advertise at 10% a level, because it's a bullshit tactic to advertise at 10% for this long and then say it's only 8%. Even though the calculations haven't been done.
It starts out at 10, but then it drops back to 8 real quick. I think it's like second or third one.
Well, yeah, but these are what they were saying, if I recall the post that I read. Originally, it was only supposed to be 8%. Kickside advertised it at 10 because, and I'm semi-quoting here, it was close to 10%. which is to say 9% is close to 10%, 7% is close to 10%, 6% is closer to 10% than it is to 1%. But that being said, their tactic or their statement was it was close to 10%, so they advertised it as 10%, but in reality, it's was not supposed to be, from the beginning, only an 8% ascending expansion. So even though it started, quote unquote, as 10% from our first expansion, it was not really, at least from my perspective of what I read, it was not intended to be 8% from the gate. It was supposed to start, 10% from the gate. It was supposed to start out as 8.
Now, here's the actual mathematics that goes along with that. It's long-winded, and I'm not going through all of it. But oh my God, how small does that fucking picture need to be? And it doesn't really help if I zoom all the way in either. You can just about make them out. There's going to be a better image of that.
Does this function within this? Does this function still within the same as the?
It functions in the same parameters.
I have a bigger picture. Let me see if I can find my bigger picture. Hang on. Let's see if I can get to it. As long as remind me not to alt tab into those other rooms.
Okay, please. What I'm saying is,
send it directly to me.
Okay.
This came directly off the forum post.
All right, okay. I got it. Hang on. I'll send it to you on Facebook. Sorry, give me a second because I have Facebook closed.
Take your time, dear.
It's really big.
We do not rush accuracy.
That's what they all say.
Hang on, I got it.
No, you don't. I had it first, damn it. Don't you send it.
We don't want it from you, David. We want it from her.
Oh, don't you do it.
I'm not taking it from David. I'm taking it from Skip.
Please don't take it. Take it from Skip. She's much better at this.
Oh, dear.
What the mathematics does, all in there, 10% for the first level, 8% for the following.
Now the third equation is actually
9.8 for the first border.
Yes, and the third one is actually off, and I'd like to preface that by because we brought it up, since not specifically because we're running the show, but I've already asked in the room, and they're going to provide the exact numbers, so we won't have the fuzzy math. So, but the first one is 10%. I mean, 10% of 60 is 6, so that is correct, 66. But if you take the 10% of all the other numbers, which I do have the math, and I'm not going to go through them all. It isn't 10%. It's 8%. However, if any one of the numbers came up to a 0.5, it was rounded up to the next number. So again, those equations aren't exactly correct. However, since I am married to an engineer and a mathematical whiz, we did do the measurements. And in theory, this is a rectangle that comes across in the 3D version as a parallelogram. So again, it's not exactly, even if you look at that picture, I mean, you can look at it as you're looking down in, or you can look at it as a pyramid that it's up, but still it's kind of like a skewed bird's eye view version. And so the unofficial person is going to put those numbers together, and it'll be shared with the community in the next day or two. If not tomorrow, it'll be shared very quickly, because this is obviously getting people upset. And the pictures are there, what Ruby says, and yes, the typo was, it looked like it was cut and pasted. This is way before my time. I have all my pictures of my base expansions. I pulled them out, and she says some pretty dirty stuff while she's saying it, but each and every expansion says 10%. And I think it was just a cut and paste from the first one. And I don't think anybody ever realized that stayed like that all the way through the expansions. And it's only just recently become an issue.
It's only recently become an issue because Kixeye are now going to start adjusting this.
Well, I will say this. I'll retract my first statement. So it was originally supposed to be 10% on the first, and then those thereafter were supposed to read as 8.
Yes, and I got 10%. So I mean, if we look at the terms of service, everything in Kixeye is subject to change. I have my base expansion. I know I got 10% because I measured it. So not only do I have the picture, I have what it says, And if you go by that first equation, which is actually correct, and that was confirmed by KixEye, that first base expansion was 10%. And those of you who go old school, the first base expansion was a lot less coin. I won't say that amount live. And then it increased in coin, but it was still 10%. And then it increased tenfold, but it was still 10%. And now all of the expansions are 8%. And I can't tell you why they're all 8%. I don't know. I'm speaking as a player, but I'm telling you, I have my pictures, not just the words, the verbiage. I have my pictures of my base, and I measured. My first expansion was 10%.
Well, see, this is the only, I'm just going to throw this out here. I'll probably get screamed at later for it, but these are my only concerns. I do not mind them coming clean and being transparent and saying, look, this was a typographical error, and it was supposed to read 8%, and this was not caught, and so people have been paying for 10%, but A, not receiving 10%, only getting 8%, or they've been paying for the supposed 8%, but we've been giving them 10%, and they've been subject to that. Now, my concerns are those like me who have coined expansions over time. Not all of the expansions. I still have 2 remaining. For hypotheticals, the 10% that I have gotten over that period of time, I got 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. Any further progression is only going to be 8, but I'm still paying at a rate that people previous to me had received 10% all the way up to max. Mm-hmm. So those players have an advantage for getting in early, bird catches the worm, and getting 10% from start to finish, coining their way to the finish.
That's the thing. They didn't get 10%.
They didn't, though, but they didn't. That's the thing. Look, if you look at the math, the third equation is incorrect and it needs to be adjusted. But if you look at the math, the first one, if you do the math, I promise you, we spent 3.5 hours on this the other day. If you do the math, the first one is 10%. Each subsequent equation is only 8%. So even though the verbiage when you went into your CC said the next base expansion, let's just say it was 300 coin, and you're going to get 10%, that's not correct. The equation was only 8%.
Okay, so it was specifically the advertisement error.
So it's this one.
Live on the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I was coming over, giving his 2 cents.
Number 5.
No, his 2 cents is more than welcome.
He brings in the lady viewers. We like his.
It does measure to 71.
So he says he's at number 5, and he has 2 to go, and it does measure at 71 in his next expansion. And his next expansion is 8%. And when you measure it, it comes out, because you can measure it. All you have to do is take a building to the edge that you have now and not place it, but just push it slightly over, and it will go to the next expansion line. So a lot of people don't know that. So it measures out. I mean, trust me, when you get the protractors out, start getting the rulers out, his current base now is at number 5. And when he drags a building to the next edge of what the next expansion would be, it is 96 by 77. It is 8%.
Okay. So it's just basically the text in the
text.
Progression.
Yep, it was always wrong. It was always wrong. That's correct. And when somebody realized that, I don't know. It was probably somebody sent in a ticket and said, well, wait a minute. Or somebody looked at the wiki and said, well, wait a minute. I was supposed to get 10, but I measured and it's only 8. It would have to be somebody who was really anal about measuring things. I mean, I'm a woman. Okay, so the way I look at it is size does matter. But if I'm going to pay for something, I'm going to get something a little bit bigger, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, but you paid and got something smaller.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
No, you paid. Well, I'm just saying.
I didn't care if it was 8% or 10%. I got something bigger than what I had, and everyone likes something bigger than what she had.
But it advertised 10, and it only gave me 8.
I realize what people. I do realize that.
Yeah, that's the only crybaby bullshit you can see coming out of this. But,
it is the crybaby bullshit, but it does fall under the premise of false advertisement.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
KixEye could be in some very hot water because of that. It is a premium game.
Well, when you
they say,
understand this,
let me finish.
Because you had to purchase it. Well, because you had to pay money.
Let me fucking finish before you jump down my throat. All right? It's a premium. It is a premium item. Therefore, it is bound by commerce law. And under commerce law, both in the US and in the United States, false advertisement under any circumstances, whether it be a mistake or not, falls on the company to correct it immediately.
Yep.
Or pay the consequences, and B, pay reparation for said fuck up in the first place.
Yep.
Or give the player what it was as advertised.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I'm saying that isn't if you go into any grocery store and it's the Wednesday changeover for the sale and they have last week's sale on it and it says buy one get one free and somebody forgot to remove the tag and you're like, well, wait a minute, that's buy one get one free, and they're like, no, that's last week's sale, but there's a big ass sign that's 5x5 that says buy one get one free. You walk the clerk over there, she has to give you the other one for free.
Yep.
Just because the grocery store clerk forgot to remove that one sign does not mean that you don't get that buy one get one free. If it's advertised at that price, then that's what
after
you're supposed to
6
get.
years of War Commander, and they've only just done this. There's a lot of people out there who bought base expansions out to the max, and they're only getting 8 when they were promised 10. Or rather, they weren't promised; they were sold 10.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Is the restitution that would be required because it was a purchased item, not.
What are you showing there now, Doc? What's that?
That is the entirety of the base expansions from start to finish.
As it or now?
As it should be.
Okay.
That's as it has been for the last 6 years. Since base expansion was a thing.
Yeah, I paid for my damn expansions. I want what was supposed to be given to me, you know.
Exactly.
I might have paid for it myself, but
Yeah, me too.
everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants it.
and I can see why. I mean, you buy it, you expect it. Just like Skip was
But
saying.
the funniest thing is, you watch. I said it earlier on, and then Lonnie came into the hangout and said exactly the same damn thing. And then Skip came into the hangout and said exactly the same goddamn thing.
I'm sorry.
You'll find out in a second. Just give me a second. You'll find out why in a minute. And Kickstarter are removing the base expansions for the people that cheated them. Now,
They'll sell them
within a month and a half, give or take, they will sell it to you. Just like they did the Jug parts, just like they did the Herald parts, just like they did recently with the Omega Phantom and the Omega Titan, which it's another fucking story completely, which I'll segue onto in a minute. And instead of actually doing all this bullshit, they'll shove it down your throats as a coin offer instead.
Oh yeah, it'd be real cheap too. Watch.
Oh, you damn fucking right. It better be bloody cheap.
Yep, better be.
Because for the amount of coin that is there for the border expansions, you had 100. That's 150, 200, 250, 300, 350. That's a lot of fucking gold.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fucking gold.
Yep.
I paid for my first 3 or 4, and then I paid for the last ones when it was on sale.
I think I paid for like maybe 7, must have been on sale for me, and then I paid full price for the last 3. So I paid full price for the first ones, but I will not tell you what they were then, because when I was playing, this is way back in Rocket and Jano days. So back when you guys started, that's the first thing they told me to do with my gold, because I came from Battle Pirates as a whale corner. And that's the first thing I started doing, was expanding my base. And I can tell you that what they charge for the first and second and third base expansion is not what I have the pictures. Is not what
Back when I did it, it was 50, 100, 150.
When I started,
50 a pop. 50 a
first
pop.
one was 1 gold. The second was 10.
Yes.
The third was
Yep.
50.
Thank
It
you.
was 50 gold increments after that.
Thank
Yep.
you.
That's why I have
That's what mine was as
third
well.
level base expansion, and I will always have a third level base expansion because I refuse to spend ridiculous amounts of money on it.
Yeah.
Mine started at 50 and went up from there. 50, 100, 150.
That's what mine did.
You know,
Yeah,
and
mine started out at 1.
I paid it. I'm sorry, but you need that.
Yeah, I
And
do.
now they're gonna mess. And now they're gonna mess with it.
I'm
They
up to the
haven't- well,
250
that's,
one, and
that's what people are missing. They haven't messed with
They're
anything.
not messing.
All they've done is correct the fuck up that they made in the first place.
Yep.
When you bought the base expansion, nothing will change inside your base at all. Of course, if you bought them legally, which everyone on this panel should have.
Yeah, I can go and show. I can go and show my borders right now. I think if they're bought illegally, the borders are actually the
borders
small
will
size of your
shrink.
base, and all your buildings are outside that border.
Mhm.
I am not
Yeah.
correct.
Your borders will shrink, and it'll do exactly what it says in the update and stash anything
Oh
outside.
no, all your borders are still show shrunk, and it just shows your buildings outside of them borders. That's
Again,
what people with
the
illegal
update-
expansions are.
The update will correct all of that.
That's going to be good.
And
I expect when it happens in the next 30 minutes and the game goes down for an hour and a half, depending on how long they intend on doing it, it will go down.
I'll
On the
screenshot
bright-
my
On
expansion.
the bright side, it does say now that you get an 8% expansion instead of 10%.
Yeah, so
It was 8% in the beginning, but now they've fixed the verbiage. That's one thing. But we've dragged this one through the fucking mud pretty much for almost the last 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and we'll go hit up the gear store before this one gets kicked to death like a dead horse. The November gear store update.
Fabulous.
Please note the monthly editions are scheduled to be removed on Wednesday, December the 6th. Of course, the date is subject to change, as everything is. This month, last chance for Roland's Tech and Ardra Tech, which if you don't have them already...
I'm not seeing the
shit.
list.
Hang on. Yeah, hang on a minute. I'm in the wrong screen, that's why. I was
Okay.
sharing the image. We should be back on that screen
There
now.
we go.
P-15 Shrapnel, the Grounded Light Armor, Roland's Heavy Training, the H-Core Inducted Tight Spaced Armor, and our Ardras Hero Training as well. So that's that one.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for them keeping them in instead of dropping.
They kept them in for another month. Why? I don't know, but they kept them in for another month, and that's perfectly fine by me. Now, for the first time, the Generation 2 unit is entered the gear store, which is, of course, the War Dog.
Woof woof.
Now, I'll hang on a minute. I need to real quick head back into the update notes and address a concern because it is in there. Where's the fuck's it gone? There it is. So if the borders of the base do shrink, any buildings outside of the boundaries will be stashed. Any buildings outside of the boundary will be stashed.
So do you think that means if we by chance had put trophies outside the boundaries, they will stash those as well?
Trophies don't count.
Okay.
They shouldn't, but if they do, we can just put them back out.
Right,
I
exactly.
would assume so. And that's that one, because there is concern enough that people will just leave them there like certain people did with leaving war rigs in their bases. For...
Mhm. And some people that still seem to have them or whatever
when their
already.
borders get shrunk and they end up complaining about it, they want to say, well, Kix, I can remove it from my base, and then bitch the following week about it
Being removed.
being removed when they got reported. But what can you do? That's not in my ballpark, I'm afraid. That's in Kix's ballpark, not mine.
Nope.
But of course, the Generation 2 War Dog unit, 40k. Now, this is what should have been happening when Soloko used to do these. That Bernie has done.
Oh.
He's got all of the tech types, the amount of medals, and it's great.
And see, and Bernie, if you're listening, we love you for this.
Oh yeah,
somebody in the side chat said, take a moment to say how pretty that is, and it is. It's beautiful. We love this.
It is.
Yeah, I love knowing that the guy's playing the game from the ground up. He's getting. Once he starts hitting bases, he's gonna be hooked. I think that happened to Data when Data came back.
Yeah,
he's building from the ground up.
It'd be prettier if that dog was a puppy, and then the next picture was like a juvenile, and then the following picture was the regular war dog, and above that was the war dog in the red paint.
Venom, shut the fuck up and quit being facetious. So for the first time, Weaver's Heroic Tech is available in the gear store, and it's simply a combination of the current lib techs, the bronze, the silver, and the gold combined into one, so Weaver's a little more powerful. So, of course, puncture rounds increases damage against buildings and vehicles by 20%. Invasion armor increases movement speed by 20% and reduces damage taken by 15%. And the heroic training increases movement speed by 30%, adds 50 range, and grants immunity to concussion, cryo, and fire status. The units going into the store this month are the Bonesaw at 130,000 medals, the Disruptor at 115, and now the tech editions for all of those guys that played Nightmare and ground the fuck out of all of this.
Yeah.
Are now kicking themselves, including me, certain things.
And me.
Because Jericho's Arc Loader, Jericho's Rapid Fire, has gone into the gear store. Arc Loader for the you can put on him. Second time. The Arc Loader has been in the gear store now because it was out a while back.
Then you need to get with another alliance and somebody to help you get some medals.
Hey, it was 400K. And I went out and farmed the shit out of that and bought the fucking thing. At 100, I can't complain about it now because everything is subject to change and blah, blah, blah. But fucking hell, if you don't get...
You know what, though, Doc? I would have rather got the XP and bought that because it's going to be a lot easier getting the XP to get that than it would be to get the medals because it's probably going to be 800K medals.
It's 175.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Fuck, they said,
Yeah,
they said prices there. Holy shit, that's not bad at all.
Bernie, being the wonderful bloke that he is,
has
put the price in there as well as the levels and the clip size and the fire rate and the clip size and concussion.
I want to buy him a hooker, 1,000 metal hooker.
that would be a drop ship, and they're not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bernie.
Oh no, but the drop ship's coming back because it's not called a drop ship anymore.
Called the 1,000 metal hooker.
No, it's called a Siege Squadron.
No, they need to actually back up drop ship back out. They need to refix that thing.
After a certain couple of people did a certain thing with a certain dropship, I don't think it should come out for a while. You should fuckers know who I'm talking about.
Me and Shadow had that fucker figured out in the first hour that they came out with it. No bullshit.
We had it figured out in the first half an hour of the fucking show.
Yeah.
It's all over it.
It was a great idea in theory. Again, the game team, anybody in life, nobody
just wasn't thought out.
Says, how is somebody going to use this in an unfair way? It was a great idea. It just became exploitable.
I don't know what you guys mean by was.
Exactly.
Shut up.
Okay, Mr.
Shut up,
still
Fear.
sitting on 2 of them or 3 of them.
No. Fear's bang on the fucking money. He is bang on the fucking money. And of course, right underneath that is Jericho's Rapid Fire Tech. And again, if you don't have Arc Loader and you missed it in the event, you're an idiot. And you don't get it this month.
Yeah, you're getting it.
Guarantee you will never see
going to get it
again.
Yeah, nope.
By the time next time it comes out, it's going to be worthless.
Exactly.
Pretty fucking much.
Yep.
And that's the thing.
And Debo, to answer your question, I haven't heard anything about that they're changing the 90s to pay out more medals. Has anybody heard anything like that? Skip?
I don't care. As long as they don't touch them,
No,
fine.
but we did ask. We did ask today. I mean, I'll just say it. We were asked, so we did, advocate for the players, and we did ask for a mega 120 base, so not to touch any of the other metal bases. It was actually Dava's idea, but Dava and I have been talking about it before. So we asked for a mega metal base, so that in addition to the people who can't grind for metals, but also to so people can get a massive amount of metals. Because I mean, seriously, I mean, we can rehash this forever. For me, grinding for metals when stuff is like, 400K, 800K, 500K, 600K, it's a lot of work to do, and people don't play every day, so it's really really tough. And then those bases can only be on the map certain times of the week with all the other stuff that they're, we can't, somebody said, oh, well, let's put the metal bases out all the time. No, you can't do that.
Can't do that.
So, I mean, we already have Thor on the map all the time now, where it used to spawn in waves. So we can't have everything on the map. There's not enough room. So we asked for a mega, like 120 base that would be like, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, obviously nothing with kick size easy, but we asked them, please, not to touch the other bases.
I mean,
yeah, but just make like a 120 base.
yeah.
That would be something that would give you a more of a substantial amount of metals at once. So I mean, they didn't say no. So we're asking to see.
Yeah, but until I would see what the payout of metals were, I would be questioning, because their ideas of awesome, unbelievable, the strongest ever, massive amount.
It's 20,000 metals. Oh yeah, okay. I'm not grinding my butt on a 120 for that.
Totally better than doing 290s.
Look at like the Thor, for example. You have your 50s, which give you 5K. Sorry, 5 mil. You got your 65s, give you 15. 15 is great for like medium level players. They can do a lot with that. And then you got the 80, which is 50 mil. 50 mil pretty much sets you up for like, a whole big like one of the big tech upgrades, or like straight out building a purifier. So that correlates very, very well. I mean, unless you've got your thorium vaults pretty much maxed, you won't be able to hold 280s at the same time, worth of Thor. So that works really well. You do one, you spend it, or you stash it, then you do another, and you keep going like that. Whereas the metals, I mean, 15K, even for some of the cheapest shit kicks I put in there, they're like 300K. That's still 20 bases you have to do just to get the smallest tech thing they want to put in there. And if you're doing bases fast, it could, at best, I could do them in about like 3.5 minutes per base and take relatively no damage. I can sit there doing 90s all day long with the exact same turn, and it'll never die. But the point is, I'm not going to, because it's going to fucking bore the shit out of me, and I'm going to get fucking bored, and I'm going to close the game after like half an hour at max. Because
I do
it
about
just becomes so
3
tedious.
metal bases, and I just get bored and stop.
Exactly. I hate doing metal. It's one of the most annoying things.
There's so much
so
crap
damn
in the
tedious
gear score that I want.
Awful.
But it's a case of I'm not going to sit there for 18 hours a day, like a lot of people would, and have 1 million medals in the fucking bank and have absolutely everything.
No, fuck that.
And
I'm trying to, but it's just so tedious.
I can't do it.
It's completely out of whack. Like if you need, say, people would say like 200, 300 mil, 500 mil Thor. People would go crazy and be like, "Holy shit, that's a crap ton of Thor." But you ask guys like me and Lonnie, it's piss easy. We can get 500 mil Thor. That's 1080. That's easy to do. But get us to get 500K medals or something. Good God, good fucking God! Like, no, thank you. We'll spend like a bloody week.
35 highway
that.
90s, and if you're doing them at 4 minutes a base, you'll be at that for hours.
I did that shit.
It takes you longer than 4 minutes a base.
Yeah, it does. I did that. The night before the Nightmare event, I grinded out 500,000 medals to get Weaver before the event, and it was a fucking beating, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah, I've done my days, I don't do that shit anymore because I just get bored with it. But like, I can do the bases in about 3.5 to 4 minutes, and I might take a few extra minutes of damage, but like it's only minutes of damage, and I can sit there doing the bases all night. But I get so bored after like, sitting down. You do say 5 of the same base. Okay, it gets very tedious after a while. You knock out 10 bases. By this stage, you're just bored out of your mind. Let alone thinking about going 20 bases or 30 or 40 or 50 bases.
Yeah.
And I'll talk more about that in a second.
It boggles the mind that that people are out there who say, well, I've got 1 million medals. Yeah, you can take your 1 million medals, roll them up into a nice little fucking ball, and shove them where the sun don't shine. Because you don't play the game, you play to farm. And it's just not acceptable. I will not do that. I have said it multiple times. I hate farming shit. I hate farming base parts. I hate farming tech. I hate farming res. I hate farming Thor. I hate farming medals. If I could smash every single player and get everything I wanted, then I would go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But the other side of that,
it just doesn't work that way.
The other side of that is the people that can easily take those. I'm talking for the lower level players, not us, not the higher level players. But the average person who can go in and just get his medals simply and easily and collect 1 million medals in his bank, they don't need the tech that's out there. They've already got it from the events. They've got it from the sport.
You don't have an Omega jug.
Well, yeah,
doing them.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. For the people that need the medals to get the tech, they're the ones without all the units that have to toil over the collection of medals. So they're suffering losses. They're suffering time and damage to collect these pitiful payouts. People like Peel who can go and do them no sweat, but have to toil over it. They get bored from it, but they've got all the toys. They don't really need all the medals. Their medals basically just build until it maxes out, and then they sit there until something comes into the gear store that is, brand spanking new.
Worth having.
Yeah, and that's few and far between.
I mean, we'll go back into the gear store real quick before we continue the discussion. Rapid loader, velocity rounds, the gold versions, that rare tech that hasn't been out for a fucking long time is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And at 25k each for both of those, it's a good price. Am I going to buy them? I'll probably buy one of each, because the only unit that I use either of those on would be Jericho.
Well, I need a couple for my howlers to finish up the rest of my howlers.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. Is I'm getting the gold tech for the howlers because I have the red tech for them, and my gold is already on.
They've got impact ordnance. I don't know what the fuck that is. I've never heard of it.
It's that's an SF tech.
Like,
I think it goes on vehicles too.
It's like vehicle tech, that 25k, which is increased damage at level 6 to 12%.
Yeah, it's not much.
This is the part I like. Continue.
This is this part you'll like. Okay, well, I'll get through this one. Just because it's the damn dogs. All right, so this is the dog tech, the spike collar, which is 8k. The dog tags, which is 8k. The fast whistle, which is 20k. The Platts whistle, which is 20k. Alpha training, which calls in all the low-level dogs, at 50k.
Hey Doc, you see the note that just popped up?
Training. The what? The who? The what now?
The release. Yeah, the release has been pushed.
They pushed it back to tomorrow.
Yep.
I am going to beat somebody over the head with my keyboard.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
I'll tell you what, though. At least
Matt tagged this one up.
At least they know it's going to be fucked up, so they're taking precautions to not let it get fucked up.
Oh, then they need to do it at first thing in the morning, and by first thing in the morning, I mean 9 o'clock on the dot. No sitting in fucking carousing for 30 minutes, bullshitting with your mates.
Get the damn thing down and be done. Exactly.
Gotta have a bagel and coffee in the morning.
Well, we know what that means.
I'm gonna post something in the side chat real quick. You guys keep talking.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the only thing removed from the gift store for this month is the fire rocket drones, fire bombs, and the fire-mounted flamethrower, which was only really useful during the zombie event.
But it looks cool. Yes. If I remember correctly, just the impact ord I think was Howler Tech, not Howler Tech, Hellhound Tech, Hellhounds. I think it went on.
I think it goes on any light vehicle.
It's classified under light vehicle, so Powers, Hellhound, Jackal, that sort of thing.
But like I'm saying about this, the dog tech, all the dog tech being available, I saw it start off, and then I kept scrolling down to see if the gold tech was there, and it was, and it just made my day.
Well, that's all of that stuff that's going into the store this month, which is all of the dog tech. Because if you were sat fucking grinding out dog bases, I did 15 of them in a row and got one gold dog tech, one gold tech. That fucking drop rate is so shite. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's my point. They need to drop. Okay, they're dropping 3 tech, but they're 3 random tech. 99% of the time, you're going to get bronze or silver tech. Now that's fucking useless. When say you're only if you need to, they need to be dropping 1 gold, 1 bronze, 1 silver. That's what they need to, because then if per se you need to tech say 10 units, it's probably going to take you about 15 to 20 bases, most likely. That's pretty reasonable. If you want to do 15, 30, it'll take you roughly double the amount of units you have in terms of bases to get the tech for them. That's pretty reasonable. If you want 30 tech, if you want to tech up 30 units, which I would consider a lot, you're going to need to do just under 60 bases probably. 60 bases is a fucking lot. But if you're getting like 1 gold tech,
somebody's phone is going off.
Not mine. I'm innocent.
If you're getting 1 gold tech for 10 bases, that's you might not even be getting the right gold tech.
It wasn't.
Right.
Well, there you go. So let's just say you get the right gold tech 1 every 20 bases. Well, fuck me. If you want to do 10 dogs, that's 200
how you
bases.
end up with 55 spike collars on 1 imprint.
No, that's how you end up with like fucking 400 bronze liberator tech and 50 ranged gold tech.
No, that's what I ended up with.
I'm just saying, fuck that.
It's fucking stupid.
Exactly. And I stopped. I started them. I did about 10, 15 bases, and I'm like, I quit.
Yeah, I was in exactly the same point. I did 10, 15 bases, and I kept running and kept grinding and kept grinding and kept grinding. And by the time I got to the 15, I've got 1 fucking tech out of this, and it's not even the one I want. Fuck this shit. I'm not doing anymore.
Exactly. It's the same with Shadow Ops. I mean, I'm at 20. My next repeat is for 28k, and I've only got 2 corrosion tech. I'm like, fucking hell.
I think my next repeat is for 16, and I haven't got any.
Point in case.
Fucking 1. I mean,
because
when Kixeye came out with these techs, they said, well, the faction tech wouldn't be upgradable. And it would be all 1 thing. It wouldn't require any res or thorium or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, the techs became 3 levels. And then they said the faction tech, well, you'd get gold, you'd get silver, and you'd get bronze for the amount of the Shadow Ops that you played. Yeah, that was fine for the first fucking week of the faction Shadow Ops. And then after that kind of thing, it just disappeared. The gold cash didn't pay out gold tech anymore. It paid out whatever the fuck it decided to pay out in the first place.
Yeah,
this bullshit about the random number generator and RNG and the ridiculous drop rates that Kixeye have for stuff is half the reason why I stopped doing certain things in the first place. If you're going to random drop parts for the Elite Herald or the Omega Herald or Titan Tech or Sandstorm Tech or Phantom Tech, or whatever, and you end up dating 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bases looking for tech and only getting either thorium or some bullshit payout for medals or some bullshit for something else. It just makes a player not want to play it at all.
Exactly. I mean, I built 20 technicals, for example, and I know others who have built a lot more. You're never going to tech them out. I don't care what you're doing at this rate with this shadow op setup, unless Kixeye drastically change it and start dropping gold, silver, and bronze tech per chest, or they do something big later, which gives us technical tokens, technical tech. You're fucked. I mean, I got 20 technicals, and I've only got 2 tech, and I'm at 28k for my repeat. And we're only going to get the technicals tech for the next
2 weeks.
Probably 3, wouldn't it be?
The next event is on the 24th.
Well, yeah. Oh, there you go. Well, that should be 3 phases. So
it's 2.
Is it?
This week, next week, and the week after. 2 more phases after this one ends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Usually they do like 3 or 4.
It'll be 4 in December, more than likely.
Okay. Oh, well, 3. So we're only going to get 3 things. So if I end up doing up to 28k for the next 2 things and get fucking shit and get like another 2 per thing, that's 6 tech. That's literally a fucking quarter of all of mine, let alone the people that have maybe built, say, 30 technicals.
30 technicals or 50 technicals or got a whole bunch of shit they want to get teched up. And by the time you've done it, it's not going to happen. And then you're looking at 3 to 4 months before this shit hits the gear store. And you never fucking see it.
It's not right, because it's not like this is the only thing we need to grind. I mean, at the same time, you got people that need to grind out medals, and we just established how fucking retarded that is. And then you got people that need to grind out Thor, and then you got people that need to grind out Res. You got people that need to grind out, tech bases, dog bases, for example. You got people that need to grind out Survivor, token bases.
All of the token shit, Survivor, Corpus, Sentinel.
All this while continuing to try to have fun in the game, having a PvP here and there.
It's fun. It's not fun because every aspect is too much of a grind.
Well, I'll put you on. I don't even have any gold tech for the technicals. I've built I've built 15 of the 35 that I've collected. I don't have a single gold tech for any of them.
I guarantee you'll never have them all picked up.
I want testicles and I can't get one.
Well,
I've always had an issue with
Come on, you guys know what I'm talking about. I have yours every night, baby.
I just think Kickstarter need to rethink their everything about tech. I love what they've done in the gears, in the workshop. All the Gen 1 units, no upgrades. The Gen 2 units do have upgrades, but they're very small. Every tech in the Gen 2 is only a day and a half. That's pretty fucking small. I'm not worried about that.
No.
I was worried when they were like, you spend 2 weeks per tech, and that would screw you over.
I was glad when they changed that, but
yeah, I'm very happy. A day and a half per tech, beautiful. Ideally, you only need to do 3 tech per unit, so that's fine. That's like 4.5 days. That's nothing. 4.5 days, you finished your tech for your unit, for that whole unit. Easy, done. But getting all the tech for those units is an absolute ridiculous grind that is impossible in most cases.
In most cases. It'd be nice if there were ways that we could earn it like we do. It's just randomly. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but kind of like how it is when Onslaught or the defense waves, or we're going through the different parts of the event where you actually get where you get them automatically, or that you get a chest that has several things in it, not just like a random drop of one thing, that you get several things in it. I'll use a perfect example, and I don't care if I'm talking about another game, because we've talked about other games that aren't Kickside games. A perfect example is when you play War Commander's Rogue Assault. You can get a green trunk, you could get a silver trunk, or you could get a gold trunk, but each one of those trunks has more than one thing in it. So I wish that it was more along the lines of something like that than just one thing or one thing and Thor.
I disagree. It's got a kick size stamp on it.
What? The War Commander Burgers?
Has a kick size stamp on it, and anything involved with kick size and their fucking ridiculous random number generator, it's gone through Battle Pirates and their shitty drop rates for stuff, through the Forsaken Mission and PLCs and a whole bunch of other shit included with that.
I hear you, but it's
gone
usually
through War Commander, their box caches, and all of the bullshit that goes along with that. And it goes with Vega. Now, Vega is by far the worst of the lot. Their probability of dropping anything decent is so goddamn minuscule, I'd be better off winning the fucking lottery before I got what I wanted out of there. And you would have to spend 18, 20 hours a day. And I'm not joking. Farming.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that.
Just
And this is
farming.
why people are getting pushed away from these type of games, because it's way too much effort. Like, for example, I'll bring it up. We all know Shadow's gone to play League of Legends, and I know exactly why. I mean, I play a game that's similar to it. I'll admit I haven't played it in a long time. I really should, because it's just fun. You can just there's no grinding in it. You get it. You sign up into the game. You throw yourself into a random queue to get put into a game. You start the game at level 1. Everyone starts it. There's no special bonuses for different reasons. You all start at the exact same place. The only thing you play on is your skill level and your team's skill level. That's why we like those kind of games. You just play the game. The game finishes in minimum 15 to an hour, 15 minutes to an hour. And if it goes for an hour, you have a blast. If it goes for 15 minutes, it's usually a pretty shitty game, unless you're winning. But they're fun because you can just play a game, have fun, then finish and go to the next game, and it's every game is completely different. It's always interesting. Grinding for like 5 hours to get tech for like 3 fucking units, and I mean literally like 3 units, is not fun. It's not. I mean, fuck that.
No, I'm inclined to agree.
I'm complaining also about the workshop. If you've got the tech, you should be able to replicate it. I don't care if it's in the list or not, but they've never done that. If you've got the tech, you should be able to replicate.
Replication hasn't been worked on since the first iteration of it because they broke it and haven't been able to fix it.
Agreed,
Yeah.
but if you got it, what's the problem?
It's a whole other
Why I
thing.
never upgraded my workshop to level 11, and I don't think
I did.
will.
The things you could upgrade were awesome. You know, charge ordnance, heavy ordnance, that kind of shit. They were awesome to be able to replicate. And the idea of the replication was fucking awesome. It was brilliant. It's just a shame that things like that and the Merc Center, you know, the Merc camp kind of got left behind and screwed.
The Merc camp, the mine factory.
Well,
Yeah.
mines are a bit hit and miss because, you know, they can be good, they can be bad, depends on how
The
someone
mines work.
themselves.
Don't care. The mines
The
work.
mines are one of the only things that do work 100% of the time.
Exactly.
Because they're a percentage base, and Kixley can set up units to be like, oh, you're super weak to mines, like the fucking Legion, which only needs 3 mines to completely kill it. Or you can have units like the Inferno, which can literally be running over mines all fucking day long, and it will never die. It's all up to how Kixley wants. Yeah.
Adra.
Okay.
Looks at mines, laughs at it, and then just fucking flattens the bastard.
Exactly.
Oh, Dava and I tested that. We put all of my Ardra's tech on her, put her in a PvP plat, and ran over all 18 of his mines, and I had like 30 seconds damage. It was ridiculous.
Exactly,
wow.
and that's the point. It's up to Kixley. You know, when Kixley bring out new units, if they want to make the mines useful, they just make the unit very susceptible to mine damage. It's that easy for them. Whereas, you know, replication is a lot more issues with trying to sort that out. And same thing with the Merc camp. I mean, they're awesome ideas. It's just a shame that we'll, you know, never get to do anything with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a shame.
It is. It is.
Okay.
That's
Where were
pretty
we?
much everything in this list for tonight, anyway. Unless anyone's got anything else.
No.
I'll say something on the tech situation, if you don't
Go
mind.
for it.
Realistically, here's the problem. It's a revolving problem that we have here. We're gonna play an event. We get a new unit. Then for 2 to possibly 3 weeks, you have a chance to do your Shadow Ops campaign to get the tech for that unit. Now, usually by the end of that 2 to 3 weeks, we don't have enough. Some of us do. Most of us don't. And then we go into the next event where we get the next unit, and then it's a filthy cycle. It keeps going. And the next unit comes out, then you get 2 to 3 weeks to try to get tech for that. The tech that we need, we don't get until 6, 8, 10 weeks down the road, where possibly sometimes they'll throw it in the gear store, possibly sometimes they'll throw it in the event store, or possibly sometimes they'll come out with their own base that allows you to do it, and then you get this ridiculous drop rate. What Kickstarter really needs to think about doing is, if they want to keep the exact same fundamental they have now, where we get the new unit and for the next 2 to 3 weeks we get the tech from the Shadow Ops, they need to go ahead and put that tech in the next event store. So that way you can use your XP.
That's a trend I've also noticed. They don't put all of the tech in the event store either.
Yeah, it'll just be one or two, and it's usually the crappier stuff that you don't want anyways.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So
I wish they would fix that.
They really need to wake up and say, hey,
do it twice a year and throw like they used to do, not everything, but everything that was ever came out July and December, and just put everything in the gift store. It's a massive spreadsheet. I know that spreadsheet has a finite amount of space, and I get that. But it would be so awesome if they just did that, like you said, if they did it at least once a quarter. That they just put every tech out for everything that they just released. Because like I'm sitting here going, oh, I just got my jug 2.5 weeks ago. I don't, somebody asked me the other day about my Herald. My Herald is just a regular Herald. I don't have time to do the jug bases. I'm in the middle of a war. I don't have time to do the survivor bases. I didn't have time to do the dog bases. I don't have a time to do this. I hadn't done Shadow Ops in over a year, but it doesn't matter. Even you guys, the seasoned players, were having a tough time doing the 70s, and then some of you went to the 45s and said, shit, these are too fucking hard. I'm going back to the 70s. So excuse my language, but I'm just going to throw it out there. And I'm here every day. I get to work from home. I'm fortunate I can work from home. If real life doesn't take me away from home, I'm here every day. So I'm logging on, and I'll set my cool timer, and I'll do something in the morning, real early, and then I'm like, okay, I need to get, and I have this has to be done by a certain amount of time. I'll set an upgrade. I just don't have enough time to do everything that needs to be done. Plus collect Thor and resources for everything that I need to have done. And then I find myself short. So, and I don't like to have to ask for anything. Although there's an awful lot of people, several people on this panel, that if I'm complaining about it, all of a sudden the next thing I know, they show up and they start helping me. Sometimes I just vent as a player and say, this is driving me nuts because I can't do X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden people just show up and start doing it and say, Skip, come here, Skip, come here. I don't learn that way either, but I can feel for the regular players who, in order to, hey, I'll speak for the corner, okay? Excuse me, non-corners, just put your fingers in your ears for me and go, la, 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 la. Okay, I'll speak for the corners. How in the world, for those of us who are corners, how do we get the money in order to coin? We have jobs.
Yeah.
Whether you're a first shifter, a second shifter, or third shifter, most of you have spouses or significant others. Most of you have or had kids. You have nieces and nephews. Some of you have second jobs. Some of your kids are in sports. You have things that you have to do at school. There's ballet. There's Christmas. There's Thanksgiving. There's all these holidays that come up. God forbid you spend a little bit of time with your family. And I get blamed for that all the time. Hey, Skip, you need to spend a little bit more time with your family. Okay, if my family had a problem, they would say something to me, so you don't know anything about my life. So just shut your trap. But again, back to what I was saying is I don't even have time to do all the stuff that's on the map right now, just for me to stay focused and caught up. And I'm trying to find a direction, and I feel like I'm all over the place. Yes, I have missed I have not done a shadow ops, and I looked it up. I have not done a shadow ops since last October. So most of those things that had anything to do with a shadow ops prize have eventually come out in the gear store, come out in the boss base, or come out in an event. But I'm always, 6-8 months behind everybody else. I get that. I don't have a problem with that. But it's just so much to do. And then to turn around and say, well, here, we're going to put this out, we're going to put that out. It just kind of gets to the point where it's like, well, how is the regular person that's not logging in every single day even surviving in this game? Because I personally, honestly, don't see how those of you who have to work, let's just say a 9-to-5 job during the day, plus you have kids and other responsibilities, I don't see how you guys are doing it. If you're just playing for a couple of hours at night and maybe you get on for some weekend time, I don't see how people are able to do it. I honestly don't.
They don't.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I mean,
Wait a minute.
I didn't mean to bring, I'm speaking as a player, not a moderator, but it made me think. I had a guy say to me, he's like, look, winter time's coming. In addition to my regular job, I do firewood. And he lives up in this general area. So I get it. When he's off his regular job, he has kids and he's a coiner. Yeah, he's a more moderate. He's not quite a whale coiner, but he's a moderate coiner. He goes, you know how it is, Skip. In the wintertime, we hibernate. And this is when I spend more of my money. But in order to make that money, I'm delivering wood. I mean, during the rest of the time, he's cutting grass. But again, there's more daylight time for us up here in the Northeast. So he has more time. He gets home. The sun's still out at 7 or 8 o'clock at night when he's done cutting grass. So he has more time to play. Right now, he's just like, I'm going to be so busy doing X, Y, and Z. The only time I have to do metal bases is on this day. It's one day a week. How is he going to get caught up unless he does 50 or 60 90s on that one day? That's a shit ton of repair if he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. He's not going to, he'll never do that.
Who wants to do that anyway? Who wants to sit all night long and just grind 90s? I mean, yeah, it's great to hang out with your friends and global and stuff, or hang out in a Google Hangout or whatever, but to grind that much just to get the medals that you need to get one new unit and then the text that you missed from before, I don't see how the lower or the mids. I applaud ClickSci. I'll bring it up. I applaud them for bringing this stuff back because we asked for it. But just listening to you guys talk and then bringing things kind of full circle in my brain made me think, when somebody said, get up off the couch and go out and enjoy the sunshine. We had sun here today instead of snow yesterday. And they were exactly right, except it was freaking cold. I mean, seriously, I could, etch glass with those things, because even with a winter coat on. So the high beams were on all day long in the sunshine. I'm just saying, but the point is that I got back into the house and I realized, oh, shoot, I needed to start that next upgrade in my defensive lab, because that's going to be a day and 12 hours, because after that, I need to do this next thing in my defensive lab. And it made me think, geez, how do people keep track of it? I have a spreadsheet. But I'm hitting bases all day long, and I still can't catch up.
No, I don't have the time. I do not have a significant other. I do not have kids. I do not currently. My pets are currently visiting other people. I work one job, and I still don't have time for everything. And I'm not going to sit here all day, all evening after work and grind this stuff. I'm just not going to do it. So I'll never be one of those big badass players that you see posting crap all the time, because I don't have the time for it. I just don't have the time, and I'm not going to coin it. I have some coin on my account. What is there is staying. I spend it when I feel like it, but I'm not adding any more to it.
No, I save most of mine.
I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, I spend most of mine for repairs once in a blue moon, and we did laugh about this because one of the upgrades for one of the units was only 50. I mean, until you got to the tokens. So yeah, I just kept hitting upgrade because I thought 50 coin was pretty cheap to me. It was pretty cheap to be able to get, because this was such a significant unit. It was pretty cheap to me to just keep hitting, 50 coin. Okay, coin, I'm going to use it. You send a ticket in or whatever, you get, you're hoping you're getting some compensation, and they really compensate you really well. I know exactly where to use it. Something that would normally take a significant amount of time to upgrade, or I'm going to get that one out of the way so I can get a 5-day, something that takes 5 days to upgrade out of the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stopped at that. I wasn't going to coin the next level. And you know, and well, now I'm kind of gated because I'm at the token level. Unless I help out with the raids, I really don't have any tokens to use.
Right.
That's another thing in the game. If you want to be significant and you're in an alliance, you know, then you need to participate in that so you get all the boosts.
Don't even get me started with that. Don't even get me started with the
Somebody's
raid.
not muted.
That's me. I can't even participate in the raids with my alliance because it's fucked up. So I've never had those boosts or those bonuses that a lot of it have enjoyed. And I can totally concur. My schedule, I'm out the door at 4:45 in the morning. I'm not back until 5:30, 5:45 in the afternoon, in the evening. That's just my job. And you know, as you said, Skipjack, I mean, there are those who do side jobs for extra cash or put in overtime to be on the good graces of their management so that they can get the good Christmas bonuses or the good seasonal bonuses for Thanksgiving to buy the big family turkey dinners and all that shit. So it real life weighs in heavily, especially during the holiday season, which, I mean, to commend all the things Kickside does do around the holidays, 4th of July, Christmas, you know, Halloween, which we've just passed. There are great things and attributes that they give to the game, but there's a lot more of real life that weighs into this and takes time out of gameplay that they don't necessarily allot for in the day-to-day, constant, progressive, needed toil that they put on us.
No.
Exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you know, for example, if tech dropped better, if we could get more for our buck, if we could get more for our time, I'm pretty sure we would all enjoy playing the game a lot more, and more people would be playing the game. That's something Kickstarter needs to look at. I mean, when I look at the dog bases, for example, you know, I'll say it outright. The dog bases are piss easy. They really are very easy to do. However,
Now that I saw your video, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, but now that the drop rate is so trash, you lose the aspect. I mean, you have one good aspect of it being that the bases are very easy and very doable for everyone. But then on the flip side, you need to do like 1,000 of them to get the tech, you know, a small amount of tech that you need to do a small amount of units. So it makes their good effort, you know, wasted.
I'll be brutally honest. I only have 3 dogs, and I will not sit there and go through base after base after base with such shitty, you know, as you put, shitty drop rate to get the tech that I want. I'm not going to sit and do 50 or 100 bases for 3 dogs.
Nobody
any more than you'll do 600 bases for your, you know, 100 dogs that you have. It's just, I don't even use the dogs that much. Dogs for me are just map runners.
And see, this is something I'll tell you. The dogs with the gold tech that gives more dogs, when that's leveled up to level 3, you get 5 dogs. That's a fucking awesome tech, and those dogs become brilliant.
But I don't intend to kill them off just so I have little dog mites. Same as I don't really. I know, but that's if you're using them strategically. I am not, you know, back to what we were talking about a moment ago. I don't coin like I used to. I don't coin anymore. I don't like the fact, as Skip was saying, when you saw the things where you could upgrade it for 50 gold, 50 gold, 50 gold. But if I went and got the res and put the res on it, it jumped that 50 gold to 120 gold.
Yes, that was weird because I did that with one unit and I thought, oh, let me see if it's less. No, it wasn't. It was like 3 times as much, and I was sorry that I did it. I didn't make that mistake again.
That is the absolute most atrocious thing that I have to deal with on a day-to-day, and I commend them from changing the cost of the package deals in the event store from 1 for 100, 4 for 400 to 1 for 104 for less than 400. So that was awesome. That makes sense, and that's logical. I would hope that they, at some point, the bean counters get off their high horse and they reevaluate the gold costs when other things are applied to it. When resources are applied, the gold cost should come down, not go up. If it stayed at the same gold cost rate, but the time reduced, which still doesn't make any sense because the gold would still come down because, you know, relative to time. But if you used resources and it dropped the amount of time it took to do the upgrade, or you did gold and had it instant, that would be fine. But the fact that you put resources in and your gold goes up is just fucking crooked, in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm gonna because I'm flagging real bad, and it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up and throw some shout outs out there. So because David isn't fucking back yet, we'll start with Deja instead. Give me a shout out.
I'd like to say thank you to the panel tonight. We had a great discussion. I enjoyed it. I'd like to say hello to my clan in 108, the Knights, and y'all have a good one.
Excellent stuff, excellent stuff. Devo, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, short and sweet to the entire panel here, everybody on YouTube, and all the assholes, and my kids running around screaming like idiots.
Lonnie, have you got any shout outs?
Nope.
Well, fuck you.
Jeez.
Peel, you got any shout outs?
I don't have any shout outs, but as my last words, I'd like to direct this to Kixeye. If you're listening, please take heed of this show, because this is a very, these were some very important topics we brought up, and if you really want to see the game progress in a very, very good fashion, you really need to look at upping, the things we've talked about in today's show. So please have a look at that and work on it as best as you can. Thank you.
Jackie boy, you got any shout outs?
Jack would like to say Fear the Peel's the best.
I believe the words were Fear the Peel's a dick, but
hey man.
Skip Jack, you got any shout outs, Sal?
Yeah, let me just go ahead and throw mine out there. I want to take a special shout out to my clan, SBT. Thank you for a blast. I won't name the name of the sector that we're in for the war, but to that sector, you guys know that we're there. All those enemies, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 32 enemies. Thank you for a party good time. You're all a bunch of pussies. And I would like to give a super sexy shout out to Dr. Phil for doing this all the time. And just some real quick public service announcements to let you know there will be soon, very shortly, so keep an eye out for forums for those of you who have access to them. There will probably most likely be a Q&A soon with Sam Burney. So look for that topic and look to post constructive, well thought out questions. In the words of Dr. Phil, go for it, Dr. Phil. Don't be a what?
Don't be a dick.
Exactly. I'd like to welcome Wrong Thinker back because I know he's going to be listening to the show. If he's not already listening right now, welcome back from a very well-deserved vacation. And he's got his plate full, but hoping to probably maybe have him visit us next week. Would also like to let everybody know that there will be another Sobo Cup post coming up. So that is all of the technical and performance issues with the game. Those of you who are familiar with his posts, that should be coming out shortly. And also be on the lookout, if not tomorrow, because now the maintenance has been delayed. So don't hold me to this. Again, all things are subject to change. Look for a post about the calculations related to the base expansion, where Kixeye is actually going to be transparent, and they are going to share that math with us. So there is a lot that's going to be shared in the next several days. So please keep an eye on that. And I would like to, as much as I get frustrated as a player, again, thank Kixeye for where we had little to no information, last minute information, completely wrong information, or just no information at all, that I am actually on information overload. And I would like to complain about it, but I won't because I love it. I'd rather have too much information than not enough. So I want to commend the entire team for pulling together, especially the new guys, and giving us what we're asking for. It's a little overwhelming, and we're a little frustrated with some things, but we're still getting good shit. So they just need a little bit more feedback from us. I am welcoming specifically, I will say to my CM, and I am not kissing his ass, but to take the pressure off of the communication that Wrong Thinker has had to do constantly, and to come in there balls to the wall and really be a hands-on community manager. I personally want to thank him for doing that. And Wrong Thinker, I look forward to the State of the Game and Wrong Thinker Thinks post. So it will be out shortly. So thank you for having me on the panel tonight.
Excellent stuff. Jackie boy, now you're back. Give me a shout out.
I wasn't gone. I thought I muted myself. I thought somebody muted me. I looked up and muted myself.
Noob.
Yeah.
Put your bottle of rum down.
Little distracted. No, I wanted to kind of give Kickstarter some props. I know there's a lot that they still got to work on, but the last few events, some of the last changes that they've made, and the efforts to get hackers taken care of, the gear store updates that are coming. At least I want to give them a shout out for the things that they've got going on right. I've been pretty impressed lately, so thanks, Kicks.
Excellent stuff, excellent stuff. David, now you're back. Give me a shout out real quick.
Sorry. Anyway, I'd like to shout out to everybody in the YouTube channel watching, everybody on the panel tonight for coming and joining us and saying your speak and what you want to say. Shout out to our new CM, Bunny, or Bernie, or whatever the heck everybody wants to call him this time. So, yeah, from going from no information to information overload is a good thing. A shout out to our other new mod, Daba Phoenix, doing an outstanding job on the forums. With that being said, props to Kix for putting out all this information, for not doing a maintenance and putting something that is totally screwed up at this point in time, that would be detrimental to the game, in my opinion. Great props there for holding it off until it's fixed and fixed right. Shout out to Skip for being on the panel tonight. She does one hell of a job for us and for the community. So, and to you, Doc, for being the ass hat you are and will always be. I still love you like a brother.
Well, the feeling is not mutual, so go figure.
Asshole.
He's laughing. I love it.
Lady Warrior, you got any shout outs now?
Oh, shout out to the panel. Shout out to everybody out in YouTube land. Shout out to all my freaks and geeks in 115. Love you guys. Shout out to CM Bernie. Everybody, or I can't say everybody, but everybody that I've talked to loves your post when you're showing what's in the gear store, what it's about, how much it's going to cost, what it does, what it's attached. We are loving that. Please, please, please keep that up, because that is a beautiful thing and we're loving it. Shout out to Dr. Phil, of course, for putting up with all of us crazies. Shout out to Skip for coming on and not leaving me alone with these heathens. I appreciate that, sis. You have no idea.
I got your back.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, all you guys resemble that heathen remark.
I decline to say a word in case I may incriminate myself.
Yeah. Oh, and just thanks to everybody for listening to us out there. We really do appreciate it. We try hard to bring you all the latest and greatest information and discuss what we can and kick around crazy ideas. And obviously some of this is working because Kix is listening. So keep up the good work. If you post on the forums, like everybody says, don't be a dick. That's it for me.
Lionel, you got any shout outs?
Oh, bless his heart.
Talk to us, baby.
My shout outs are going to be short and sweet. Definitely shout out to Dr. Phil for jumping on this show, for creating a great title, although I think you should have entitled it BYE, as in goodbye cockroaches. Because one by one they are going to be kicked out of this fucking game, and that we give the utmost respect to Kicksai for their diligence in working on rectifying all these issues as they come up and as they can get a clear and decisive fix on them. So much respect for their efforts. Love the gear store updates. Love the ideas and everything. Hopefully everything will go through smoothly tomorrow. Big shout out to all the community that puts up with our crazy ass antics in our shows, and hope they all keep with us and watching. our shows, and a shout out to all the people who are happy enough to put up with me and join us on this panel and have me on this panel. I do appreciate the camaraderie. So that's me. Love you all.
Excellent.
You can all go fuck yourselves too, but that's just.
No, fuck you, dude. Love you, Venom.
Cost you extra venom.
I got deep pockets.
I know.
Kids say ain't touching them.
Will you shut up? My final words for this evening are simply going to be this. Bernie, keep up the current work that you're doing. I may not be as prevalent as the forums as I usually am, but I still watch and observe and read everything. Because that's the kind of person that I've been for a very long time. Although I don't tend to comment on much as I used to do. I don't write ridiculous forum posts anymore, and I don't have any intention to start doing that anytime soon. Of course, shout out to you guys on the panel, everyone that's come on tonight, everybody in the YouTube, and a special shout out to my buddy, the Loch Ness Monster. I'm going to need about 350. Thank you.